Hello, everyone. I'm Tatyana St. Germain with Great People Management, and welcome to the mini podcast series, Great People Talk, where, as always, I try to invite amazing people, great thought leaders, to share their wisdom and their insights to help you on your path to greatness. And our guest today is Jesús Alderete. Welcome, Jesús.
Thank you so much, Tatyana. I'm very happy to be here with you.
He is a founder of the weekly newsletter called Real Life Stories. And Jesus and I had several insightful conversations about leadership development, which is the topic that's near and dear to my heart and my line of work, of course. And we talked about leaders in career transitions. And so I immediately knew that I wanted to share the real life stories with my audience. So Jesus, tell us a little bit more about real life stories and of course how you got the idea, because that's really interesting to hear the background and the story, how you got the idea to start the newsletter about that topic, the leadership development topic, and give us a little bit of background, please.
Of course, yeah. So, real life stories, as the name implies, is just about that, showing people what others have done, people like you, and getting inspired by that. And the idea came up because, in all my experience, in leadership, it's typical to follow a traditional approach where companies just, provide training to all their leaders, and then measure, with some typical metrics how they are doing. But it's very hard to get sometimes engagement after the fact, to find out that all that training actually made sense, that there is an ROI on that. And, what I think moves the needle, and after, having discussions with, a lot of people like you in this field, is, knowing that somebody else actually applied the theory, as it also works in other fields, but in this one, since leadership is an art, it's not a science, then it's very important to put it in practice. And the best way I found that people would put it in practice is by knowing about somebody else, knowing those stories, and know about role models. So that's where the idea came up. Not that, not focusing on content, but focusing on stories.
And you share some of your stories in there too. I read through some of them, so it's very interesting. And what you're talking about in leadership development, I run into this in my leadership development and coaching practice as well, where, like you say, we put leaders through development or training, but things don't tend to click, or they don't tend to stick. And it's connecting the dots. How do you connect the dots? How do you make the development stick? So
Exactly.
and so how, in what way, or how does the newsletter, Real Life Stories, achieve that purpose?
Well, basically, it shows, once a week, a story about a topic. I mean, it's not that we just put a handful of stories for people to read. It's once per week, we delve on a topic, for example, time management, any leadership topics that you know about, conflict resolution, self-awareness, and we bring a story about that, and then connected to that story, there is content, of course, because, once you get that person engaged, that person responds saying, yes, I want to follow that person, I want to follow that story, I want that to be me. Then you have to give them something, right? Okay, so now, let's follow this path. You need to know this, and that. And that's where, the connection, with further content comes in, so there is stories, but then there is self-assessments, there is cheat sheets, there is training material, there is, some games, some challenges, interesting stuff for people to stay engaged and also learn in the process.
It's resources as well, real resources.
Exactly.
that worked for the leaders who are sharing their stories. And
That's right. Exactly. Yes. To have a
Awesome.
full circle around the topic. Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's fine. Yeah. No.
Jesus, why would people want to join Real Life Stories?
So there is a lot of people that are stuck in their careers that, they're 10 or 20 years in a role. I mean, it happened to me as well. And you don't know what to do. You think that that's your path and that, that some people, may be just touched by a magic wand and others are not. And, real life stories is to show you that people like you actually did it, right? And, to get inspired by that, to get unstuck, to keep growing, because that's, the first aim of it. That's what happened to me. It came to a point where I was stuck. And, it wasn't until I heard about other people that I joined some, I joined some trainings, but, I also did some coaching sessions and I heard about other people that made it happen. That's when, it can happen for you. So if you're stuck in your career or you want to leap to leadership, you have the skills, but you never put them in practice. So then you're either tagged as an expert or without experience. So this is for you. There is ways to do it. And there is people that have done it. So we want to show that to you.
Mhm. And just to be clear, does it cost anything to sign up?
No, it doesn't. It's all free. Yeah, all the resources there are free. Then, of course, there is links to further resources that some of them are not, but for people that are interested. But the newsletter for everyone is free. Yeah.
One more question for you, Jesus. What will they find when they sign up?
So besides having to put your first name and your email address, you're gonna find the story behind the foundation of this, why I decided to start it. You're also gonna get a free article that is only for subscribers on how I was able to lead a team and keep people engaged throughout the years without HR approvals, without extra budget, some ideas for you to succeed as a leader. You're gonna get all that as long as you once you sign up. And then once a week, your story on your favorite topic, just to get inspired.
Do your subscribers also share their own stories and they ask you to put their stories in?
Yes, I got a few that, a few people, of course, we have a cadence, but, the intention is that everyone participates and shares their own stories too. So yeah, in the near future, we're planning to put some, member stories there because that's all the intention, that it's a community and not just me, but everybody shares their own stories. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on to our mini podcast and sharing about real life stories.
Well, thank you so much, Tatyana, for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.